when the shows come to an end on the pyramid stage, a pilgrimage of 100,000 people winds its way uphill through the rain and mud to a far corner of the festival, and another Glastonbury begins.
From the glass coffin of genre, a startling new song breaks forth. Like a defiant Methuselah mouse, gnawing through the cables of mythology and coming up in Rockefeller Plaza to see the statue of Prometheus look down. Two gypsy children dead upon the shore, and the cable snaps in a riotous carnival erupting on the Utopia bypass. The cavalcade of doom and dirty deals grinds to a halt while the revelers storm across the frontier chanting, "Viva la música."
Anyone could put on U2 or Beyonce or Coldplay. I mean, that's not clever, is it? All the inventive stuff that we do, like the Traveller's Fields, you're down in the southeast corner, that's the new stuff we're doing. It's so mind-blowing and it's so inventive. It's just pushing the boundaries of performance, isn't it?
It's visions of the future. Sometimes visions of an ideal future, sometimes visions of a sort of nightmare future. Without utopia, we would be nowhere. Without that idea of us moving on.
As this area is contaminated. If you have been contaminated, Make way to the decontamination chamber.
Everyone's given up on saving the planet. The slums are being left to rot. They're going to colonise a new world. This one's ending. There's viral ridden. This is the last rave ever before everything gets transported off to the new world.
My nickname for the farm is actually Shangri-La. In a valley full of romance and of beauty and of fun, away from the harsh realities of the real world. When they come back from anywhere, they say we're back in Shangri-La again. It's a romantic sort of concept of living in pure pleasure and fantasy.
All the early paradises are islands that appear from the mists once every 7 years, and if you can actually get there, then your life will be blissful forever. For a weekend or a week, that's Glastonbury for people.
This could be heaven or hell, depending on your perspective. I believe that it is our chance to be free and to look after each other.
Just got all the extremes here, you know. It's got to, it's humanity all coming together and seeing what happens.
When people come here, they forget their daily worries, the mundane sort of reality, and they can become, for a few days, just completely free, where they can do what they like and act how they like. They haven't got to worry about the sort of constraints of every day. You can just be who you want to be at Glastonbury.
People feel free, people feel relaxed. It's in our genes almost. Midsummer, get together with your friends outside and enjoy yourselves.
Welcome. Me llamo Tomayo Rosellón. Estoy muy contento de estar aquí. Estoy de Mallorca y yo quiero hablar con la gente de Glastonbury a ver cómo piensa todo, ¿no? This man is typical of Glastonbury, man. Fantastic. And Glastonbury, this fantastic festival. My first time in my life come to Glastonbury. Fantastic. I had little sleep and a lot of amusements. Yes, fantastic. For you, what is Glastonbury about, in a nutshell?
It's just getting away from the society outside. See? And living away from all of these...
Getting away from the pressure.
Getting away from issues like stop us from being who we are.
It's like a little city here. Yeah. A broken city. That looks like a reflection is how the world's gonna get in a minute. We not careful. Like a lost paradise.
This really is tapping into I think a very English surrealism. Carnival, fairground, Festival of Fools, going back to a sort of rural idyll to somehow find a native British art. Utopia has that thread running through it.
Oh my God, look at that. What the hell is here? This is crazy. It is amazing.
Who wants to play Crackhead?
This is like Disneyland, but crazy.
Often people are really fascinated, like, what is this all about? What the hell are you doing? Stopping and asking you, like, why? Why have you turned a beetle car into a frog? And it's great, that bewilderment. You do get some people who are scared. Some people think it's scary. You know, it's muddy, it's full of old punks, and, you know, we all look a bit rough, and we've been here for weeks, and we're muddy and smelly, and there's these giant monsters everywhere. And there are people that think it's a bit scary.
We're just this little vision of possibilities, you know, and it's a happy world. It's not a sad world. It's not a world where people are in terror. This is a world where people are in enthusiasm and creation. And once you've seen it, you can't unlearn it. You can't never know that this doesn't exist again. Children see it, and they go, oh, this is what I want to do when I grow up.
What the hell is going on here? This place is crazy.
Oh, yeah, it's mad, is it?
It looks like a broken place or something, but it's funky. I think this place comes alive at night time.
At night, yeah.
It's a nighttime place.
You're coming tonight. We're doing the fire show.
I can
Wow.
imagine tonight.
I sleep in the helicopter. That's my bedroom. Me and my girl living there. Visually, it's great, but it's the worst sound clash in the world because we've got Bez's Acid House stage playing into it that way, and Sharky's Church of the Holy Roller playing into it that way, and it's just a massive sound clash inside it. You know, I like parties, and the more noise is going on, and people and the happiness, and the better I sleep, you know.
Most people are not aware that the festival really started in 1914, just before the First World War, with this guy who was a classical composer. He was an early socialist, member of the Communist Party, but looked like a hippie. And he wrote what is still the longest-running opera in the West End of London, based on the Arthurian romance, The Immortal Hour. It's a sort of concept album before its time. It's become another one of the legends of Glastonbury, almost. The sort of assembly halls have sort of been recolonised by the sort of new generation.
Oh, hello.
Get me in the mood.
Oh, hello, get in the mood for what?
Glastonbury, I watched you in a film.
The first time I actually worked here for Michael Levis, I had to cover this place where the articulated lorries turned, and it was raining like this, basically, at the time. It had just started, and he drove up, and I said, what about this shelter then, Michael? And he said, why? I said, well, you know, to shelter people from the rain. And he said, it won't rain. It was raining, but he'd said it with so much authority that I believed him. It was true. It stopped raining 5 minutes later, it didn't rain again at all. You know, I thought, this is a rather strange person. A man of some potency. The way he kept a straight face, you know, without a touch of irony. It's not going to rain.
Hello, how you doing?
Nice to meet you. Thank you for the festival.
Nice to see
Wonderful.
you. People sort of love to see me and stop me and to talk to me, can I do a photograph and all that sort of thing.
Lovely, excellent.
Oh, lovely. People seem to like to be able to sort of touch it to a person, don't they? Who's actually doing all this?
Just one for the girls. Oh my God, yeah.
I can't say I don't like it, because I do like it. But it's something that I'm really sort of proud of. But it is a bit overpowering, though.
Michael, thanks for the festival.
Thank you very much.
I likened it to a Tudor monarchy. He has a star chamber of main men under him. The power just sort of went down, but always, you know, ultimate power was with the king, King Michael. It's an extremely authoritarian regime, really, you know, and becoming more so all the time as we, you know, succeed to more and more, as they call it, health and safety, but let's call it insurance industry motivated regulation.
Welcome to Shangri-La.
Have you purchased your Shangri-La hand sanitizers and foot wipes? These are compulsive and highly recommended. They will reduce the risk of contamination.
Yeah, I mean, Shangri-La is this idea of a valley in the mountains. It's this hidden paradise on Earth that somehow has survived for centuries. People are wandering from the fields to these strange environments that they find. You don't know what's around the next corner.
Expressing the fear of the society that we're living in and how it's going to go. How we can be if we don't sort it out. People's fears built large. Visions of the future.
The people who joined communes in the 60s and early 70s could not afford to buy the place in the country and went travelling, became the travellers. They were the same people, the same section of society. When punk broke in the late 1970s, you got this sort of almost rejection of the hippie dream and this sort of hard anger against what was happening, the cuts that were coming in at that time. A very urban phenomenon. Out of that, you get this harder culture.
You know, the first time I traveled out in the rain and snow, in the rain and snow.
A lot of the punks were shifting out into the last bits of the convoy, wasn't it? It was the late 70s and the early 80s, and that's where everyone was kind of going. Kraz Anarchy was moving into the convoy and the travelling community, and that was where the two elements met.
This sort of combination of punk and hippie, the so-called peace convoy, which becomes this sort of almost travelling village, which everybody is worried about descending on them.
We came here the year that Margaret Thatcher smashed the peace convoy at Stonehenge. 1985.
There was nowhere to go, so we decided to come here.
From that day on, Stonehenge didn't exist anymore as a travellers' event. So it was agreed that they would come in at 2 o'clock in the morning up the A37. There's a huge convoy. 200 vehicles turn up. I gave them a space and we gave them food and stuff, and we gave them blankets and things. It was kind of refugee status for those people, really.
We arrived in this big old skull bus, a broken bus we made into a giant skull with a rib cage.
They made it into something that expressed the traveller thing, the freedom, anarchy, the wish to be free.
These people are incredibly creative, and I think that's very much comes from like the DIY culture. You live on the road, you meet other people, and you learned really, really hardcore skills.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
What's the origin of the face, though?
Easter Island, isn't it?
Easter Island. All right.
They would come up with the most amazing things, with a welding rod and their gas burners. They did moving vehicles then, too, on site. They were really, really graphic. But they were metalheads, really.
There used to be these amazing kind of metal bashing jams on cars, and they used to build dinosaurs out of tractors and car henge and things like that.
People go, I saw that Stonehenge out of cars you built. Changed my life.
There was quite a scary atmosphere in places, which was a lot of fun. It was quite dark and a real wildness. This area definitely still has that, and I think it's because a lot of the people who were there in those days are still kind of here doing this.
You can see this sort of communes movement starting to come out at the end of the war, with a real thread of peace activism built into it, which runs into the very early CND and the Aldermaston March itself. And you've also got that link to music. You've got this whole jazz culture in the beginning, which then turns into a sort of radical folk music. You could see those very early Aldermaston marches as sort of festivals on the move. They were parties.
Everyone likes a party. No matter where you are, just go and have a party with people and everyone understands it. It's our greatest export, really.
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind.
I'm a free spirit, but to do what I want to do with my life, and no one's going to tell me that you can't do that because we don't like it. One of my ancestors was sent to Australia as a torpedo martyr. He was fighting for agricultural wages, for farm workers. He was campaigning and burning things. He was a troublemaker, yeah. He'd be proud of me, wouldn't he? I think he would. I hope so. I think so.
So won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs.
Now, I just want to talk about the criminal justice act that we have in England. In a way, it's the biggest favour because they tried to repress us, but it drove the underground together. The bikers, the anarchists, the travellers, the techno tribes, the computer kids, the old school, the hard school, were driving it together.
You get key crossover people in sort of utopian thought, people who take the ideas from one generation to another. Clearly, Joe Strummer was one of those. I mean, he's got a little bit of Glastonbury all to himself now.
First show of the night here at Strummerville. Can you give a big warm welcome to Nara Sirato?